aside, you want to look at the map pool, actually. And you want to sort of say, we need to start off on a map. First of all, Mindfreak have mentioned so many different times that they are a team-fighting team. And they've gone on to macro maps, so they've gone to team-fighting maps and just tried to play a hybrid macro style to keep up, and it's not worked for these minor region teams so far. So I'm looking at Volskaya, for instance. I'm looking at Dragonshy. I'm thinking you want to try and take away these key, crucial maps that Tempo Storm are so strong on. Find a team-fighting map like Shrines, like BOE. BOE for me, especially, is what I want to see, but it's been banned away from Tempo Storm.
No.
Tempo Storm has banned BOE every single time so far.
Mindfreak took them to Dragonshire?
Okay, that's a risky. That's kind of like seeing Heroes Hearth Esports pick Tomb against Team Dignitas.
So
Yeah.
I mean, to be quite honest, Tempo Storm has been the most predictable team when it came to map decisions in this tournament. They picked Volskaya 4 times and they picked Dragonshire twice, and they banned nearly exclusively Battlefield of Eternity. So that we actually see Dragonshire taken by Mindfreak is insane.
Well,
because that just screams that Mindfreak has some pocket draft for this map particular, where they are saying, doesn't matter how good they are here, we're going to blindside them, we're going to throw them a curveball they don't see coming, and then we're going to win through that.
Either that, or it's trying to put Tempo Storm in the first pick position on their favorite map. That was something that Dreadnought was talking about yesterday.
That is one big consideration, absolutely. I suppose on the side of why they have picked Dragonshy, back home in ANZ, this is a map which we can actually really punish other teams on, because we don't have the same structure as major regions, right? So the amount of level of practice that goes in sometimes isn't always going to be the case. So I feel like this is a map very oriented on that communication, and a team that have been around for such a long time, such as Mindfreak, really exploit that back home. Do they have the surprise factor at the international level? Well, Tempo Storm, it's a...
I want to come back I want to come back real quickly to the first pick, second pick position. I think when you have 2 evenly matched teams, that's a huge concern. But if there is a big gap, then I think the comfort that Tempo Storm still has playing on the map, knowing rotations, having great timings with the camps they took. They showcased that with the night camp timings, with the Siege Giant camp timings that they had against opponents. I would say just pushing them into the second pick position here is not going, into the first pick position here is not going to give Mindfreak the edge that they need. So I think there has to be more to it than that, and that's why I'm waiting for a bit of a surprise pick, probably towards the second part of the draft from them.
Well, yeah, we'll find out by the end of the draft. Toucher, what are you thinking as we see the Malfurion first pick and the bans roll in?
I mean, I definitely like the Malfurion for Mindfreak due to the fact it's the best support. I was thinking like how this could affect June, but then I realized it really kind of doesn't, because June is potentially one of the best supports in this tournament right now. Give him anything, he's going to have a pretty comfortable game on it. So it's just really, he's allowed to play around the rest of his team, and as such, priority is left on the support. They just Tempo Storm, sorry, the Malfurion wasn't stolen away from him. Having that Malfurion is good for him. Mindfreak, though, they still do have solid win rates. I've got the player names mixed up on pretty much every other support here.
Well, you see Dragonshire with a second pick, and you're immediately like, that must be Tempo Storm. Yeah, I hear you.
Got my names up.
It's interesting, right? Because Fat94, he's always the first person on that team to want to rotate. He's always the first person that wants to actually try and force a team fight. He said, if I wasn't playing Assassin, I would actually be tank. And you'll notice that in his hero pool all the time, he's playing heroes like, Maiev, like Trace, like Genji, looking to try and force something, looking to try and make something happen. He said, look, if I'm playing Valor and like an Oriel Valor composition, I don't really enjoy it because I want to get in there, but I am so squishy that I can't do much. So once again, you get the Maiev ban. Mindfreak aside, that is obviously the ban of the tournament, but then if you go for that first pick on Malfurion, once again, that Tracer pick that Fat94 loves to play, can't have that. So he's gone for the Genji. It's a comfort pick for Ryu with the Sonya, and they say, look, we'll take the Tracer away. And Joe Hine, for good measure, to try and deny a lot of what you picked with those 2 double auto-attacking heroes.
I actually like this already quite a lot from Tempo Storm, because traditionally on the map you've seen them with a lot of very melee-heavy compositions where they oftentimes throw not only an offlaner in, but then a second bruiser or even tank. So now they have their main tank, they have Tracer, but they leave a lot open here. So they have a great combo with Malfurion and Tracer already, but they're still very flexible to react to anything that comes their way. And that's one of the parts I definitely like. They've shown some plays with Thrall here, they've played Dehaka on the map so far, so there's still enough offlaners around so that Mindfreak can't ban them out or anything.
I personally want to see a Jaina ban. I've been seeing Tempo Storm put a lot of priority onto it. Great for the map, great for the wave clear, and great for that bush meta where you're going to be cycling through and just looking to find that one isolated target, look for that pop, find a very early snowball lead, and that's the big focal point of Dragonshire, right? Is that 4-man lane. If you can excel on there, then you're going to hit 10 first control and mercenaries and win, and we see the Jaina ban as a result.
Completely agree with you. It was a solid ban. does allow them to potentially be a little more flexible. I do like this as well from Tempo Storm, though. One of the biggest ways you can potentially get caught out when you're already up against a Genji and a Sonya is if they are able to pick up a couple kills thanks to that Divine Shielded Dragon Blade and Snowball. So removing that invulnerability factor from that particular combo allows you to try and counterplay the Genji a lot more.
And also you shut down some of the CC options that they have to control Tracer when she tries to go in for a kill. And with the Divine Shield on Sonya and on Genji, you already have 2 targets. You could also then go into an ETC here, for example, if you have Uther. So there's a lot of options for Mindfreak to abuse a Divine Shield, so great ban from Tempo Storm.
Wondering where we go here for the side of Mindfreak. If you're looking at Penta Unleashed, their tank player, back home in ANZ, they actually banned Diablo a lot of the time. And this is even pre-rework. So when the option is available, we're typically looking to try and pick it up against hyper carries such as your Genjis, your Tracers. And what I mean by hyper carry, just very, very mobile, but a traditional pick for him has always been that staple in Muradin. He's going to stick to that for that initiation potential. And Vanilla for the second time going to play Deckard Cain. It's actually funny, right? Leading into the Intercontinental Clash, he's like, I've never even played the hero. Not even going to want to practice it, not even going to try it. But this is the second time he's busted out on the biggest stage yet.
Let's see if
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it is a pretty fun hero, and the fact is, I'm still concerned how well Deckard is going to be able to heal. We've already mentioned Burst versus Deckard is good. Can Deckard really save targets against that Tracer? Muradin is going to have a little bit of work cut out for himself as well to maybe add a little bit of healing with that Stormbolt to try and buy some time.
We've seen a lot of shield potion. He controls areas really well, so there's definitely some great assets that he brings to the play for now. Genji, of course, is great to just traverse up to the top lane and put a bit of pressure onto whatever solo lane we're going to see from Tempo Storm. I'm just really surprised that we haven't seen any X Factor yet. I'm not sure if the last pick is really gonna, or can in any way be so surprising that they are saying, okay, this is gonna be the one thing that gives us the edge over Tempo Storm. So far, Mindfreak has throughout the entire tournament been fairly standard in all of their picks, and given their history, that surprises me a bit.
It is. I even spoke to Ben literally just before when I was upstairs, and I was like, you know, what can I see? What can I expect in this Tempo Storm series? You know, there hasn't been that surprise factor. We haven't really seen the dominance, or at least the toe-to-toe performances that we've seen Nomiya and other teams back in the day, even when you had Arcana and Robodoba on the squad that have now moved to EU on a full-time basis, right? So it's frustrating as an ANZ supporter and as an ANZ caster to see them so dominant back home, come here and to see them get absolutely smashed, like, what, 17-0 in one game. It's tough to be a supporter, right? But at the same sentiment, you know, there was that strategy, which I have to have faith in, that they say we're going to look to try and see how many drops, what people are looking to try and do. And I suppose there's also a very interesting predicament where if you realize that you're out of contending that top 4 spot, you can actually start to upset the placements for the other 4 teams that are looking for top, right? So I feel like that might be their game plan, is sort of like, we're going to bow out, but bow out gracefully.
Well, it's about time for some predictions. Is the Cassia enough to stop the Tracer with all of her capabilities, the blinds, all of that, or do you see Tempo Storm taking this one?
I love Cassia, but the synergy of Tempo Storm is just too good for me. Even with all those auto-attack heroes, I'm still going with Tempo Storm.
Kaldor?
Tempo Storm is out to show everyone how strong they are. That yesterday against Fnatic was a bit more of a fluke and not there in their best shape. They really impressed me in the tournament, especially in the first few days. I say they take it. I'm a little bit by Mindfreak how much confidence they have in picking the map, but I still think that Tempo Storm is going to take this.
All right, not enough wow factor for Kaldor. What about you?
See, my heart has to say ANZ, jet lag and everything aside. I'm like, come on, boys, let's get something pretty spicy. It's just not spicy enough, right? I feel like the execution that we've seen coming out of Tempo Storm so far up against a world-class opponent is enough for them to beat Mindfreak here. And without any cheese or anything very unique, Mindfreak just don't have the factor. So for me, it has to be, change that to Tempo Storm. Yeah. Change it to Tempo Storm. I'm probably going to get deported back.
You're banning your region?
I'm not allowed even to go home now.
Oh, Skimmy voted with his head instead of his heart.
You're welcome here.
I've got to vote with both and say Tempo Storm.
3-1. 3-0, my bad.
Here we go. Here we go. It's
Do we get a
fine.
counter for that too? I want to count down.
This is an earpiece emote.
Yeah, do we get predictions about the
We need a
ear-
new draft, like exactly. We need like chat to come in there. Who's gonna win? Is Gilly gonna start a comeback, or is the earpiece gonna take it?
Well, it seems chat agrees with us, although my earbud does not agree. It's abandoning me. Tempo Storm, I also talked to Glaurung. He said that they felt very confident, which gives me a lot of confidence too. Their mentality was not shaken despite the tough times yesterday. Let's check in with our commentators and see how they're feeling about the Dragonshire pickup for Game 1.
Feeling pretty excited about it, Gilly. I mean, the land down under showing up hopefully today against Tempo Storm, who has been showing up the last couple days in their matches. Jay, how are you feeling?
All I know is Mindfreak must be feeling really confident, as they were saying, because to take Tempo Storm to their best map, that's gutsy.
All right, Gilly, we're going to go cast it. See you later. All right, let's go ahead and hop into this here as we set up for Dragonshire. Jay, how is Mindfreak going to be able to get some wins in this tournament?
I will say that their draft against Tempo Storm would probably be how you would want to draft, so if they're going to do it, maybe now's the time.
Now is the time. Let's go ahead and hop straight on into it here on the left side. In the blue, it will be Mindfreak. Fat94 playing Genji, Ryu on Sonya, Penta on Muradin, Vanilla on Deckard, and John to show off Cassia.
Tempo Storm trying to rebound from yesterday. They're going to be here on the right in red. It's going to be June on his familiar Malfurion, Fan on Tracer, Caterpillar on Johanna, Sam on the new hero Phoenix, Glaurung, of course, going to be manning that top lane on Dahaka.
Yeah, rebound's a really good word. Yesterday was a very difficult day for Tempo Storm. They had some really hard matchups. And honestly, they did perform pretty well. Team of Spider Queen, okay, that's a little bit more debatable. But the other maps, I really enjoyed what I saw from them. So I want to see that trend continue today and see if they can stop Mindfreak here, who has yet to get a win this tournament.
It's going to be tough. I mean, obviously, the Cassia meant to deter a lot of the double auto attack here, especially when you look at Fan's Tracer. He loves to be aggressive, loves to be in your face to get those kills and put the pressure on. We'll see how much he can accomplish there. As Deckard giving somebody a little detour there. Look at the globes. Or the healing potions.
A little flask, yeah. I was like, that's actually kind of interesting. Usually you go top lane, you throw a couple up there, you spread them out. They're like, no, this tower is where we will defend any push coming in. Tempo Storm, however, look at this, getting aggressive in the middle lane already, clearing out those lanes. Saw him using Phoenix as well as he can here to buy some room for Fan to step forward and get some damage on those turrets.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really important, not only for Deckard to stop those rotations, but for Genji to have enough pressure in the top lane to get a kill. If they don't get that, the amount of pressure that we're seeing from Tempo Storm due to the wave clear or the lack thereof on the side of Mindfreak is actually causing a problem already in this game. We see this 2-1-2 split, but they're going to give up their siege camp at the bottom, threatening with that potentially with Dahaka. It's going to be interesting the way Mindfreak, just for this moment, looks okay, but it's over the next minute to 2 minutes to see if it's actually worth it.
I like how Tempo Storm is coming over here and actually protecting these Giants a little bit. John has to get forward and drop a Fen there to clear that pretty effectively, which means Fan can maybe step up, drop a Pulse Bomb. Now, John, with the help of his teammates, are able to finally jump on these Giants, but that allows Cattle to shark around here on the right side and get this minion wave pushed in. They are really trying to make sure they counteract that pressure we saw on the top lane, which will soon actually have a Night Camp pushing.
Yeah, and they're definitely focused on having that two-man top lane. Again, it's going to be a matter of, can you trade that out eventually?
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll see teams, all right, look, eventually you get that top lane, you get the well, you make it a little bit easier on your solo lane, and that way the retreat point is much further for Dahaka. He doesn't have that well to tap, so you take away some of those resources that could be fairly impactful as we get to the later part of this laning phase.
So far, though, I like what I'm seeing from Mindfreak. They seem to be confident in their rotations, and they've done a pretty good job there of getting pressure on that top lane, with Genji and Sonya continuing to be out there. That Night Camp will be where that Thorn becomes a major problem for Tempo Storm. John eats a Pulse Bomb, but kites backward as Vanilla consistently gives him that beautiful sustain. One of the best things about a Cassia is that if you're in a 2v3, 1v2 in the early game, she trades up really well, thanks to her trait. That's why they're able to hold this bottom push, but Tempo Storm has put on just enough here with the Giants to actually make it enough of an issue to where this wall completely falls apart.
Yeah, again, the lack of wave clear, very evident here. And speaking of wave clear, we'll take a look at it here in a second. Johanna actually rotated to the top to actually finally lend some support up to that, and it looks like it might not be enough just yet. But the damage was done up here. Again, this takes away resources that Glaurung could potentially have. He no longer has those turrets to retreat to. He no longer has that well. He does have Essence, of course, and he does have the ability to Hearth and then Z back in. But again, these are things to take note of as this game goes on.
Still a close trade, though. 6.5 in experience, about 6.5 here for Tempo Storm as our two teams continue to maneuver around the battleground. Were you thinking about possibly coming in here and putting some damage on Psalm, but with Cattle taking over that bush, controlling it, so when you will head back to the top lane there to continue doing what she does best in terms of laning. But finally, Fat94 decides to jump on the train here to the south as Genji, and they're even sneaking over to grab a Night Camp.
We're going to see the Night Camp be approached upon, but with this wall falling down, it's now Tempo Storm's opportunity to come down and invade. Somebody has to sniff this out. You'll see the Moonfire is going to identify that. Remember, the Global is on the side of Tempo Storm.
Good
if they
read.
just channel one, they can come down. Look for Glaurung to come in here.
And Vanilla just uses abilities too there on the right side in the bush. We're going to have Cassia trying to kite away straight into the Malfurion. Rude is going to be able to sneak on by. Sustain is just enough, but here is Glaurung, as you mentioned, bringing the drag on Penta.
I feel like it might have been delayed maybe up at the top because I feel like that was a little bit late, especially with Cassia. As you said, already used a lot of her abilities. Cassia was one of the last to leave essentially there. So I'm surprised they didn't come in a little bit quicker, so maybe something happened in that top. Either way, we've got a Night Camp pushing bot lane.
And that lack of wave clear is showing right now. This fort looks good as dead here, especially with Cattle stepping up. Look how confident he is. Running straight to a keep wall, even dropping the blind to make sure that Vanilla cannot back. Vanilla being low on mana is not even in this fight anymore, so he has to fully back to be able to grab the mana, and that's going to be a fort completely taken out.
You bring up such a good point. It's those small little things that we see Cattle do well, the top teams. I see it from Breeze. You see it from a lot of people. It's just the dismount, the delay.
Yeah.
Every second that you get just buys so much more. It's almost like exponentially at that point because now Tempo Storm, those 2 to 3 extra seconds is going to lead to a lot more on what they can do. They steal the camp, and they know that they have complete control. We're looking at a 1-level lead now for Tempo Storm.
And the macro's starting to kick in heavily with the Giants pushing in the bottom and the rest of that Night Camp. Anywho, we're going to have Tempo Storm grabbing the first dragon of the game, and easily too. Now with that wall open in the middle lane, they can easily take a fort, move towards level 10. Things are about to get really harsh for Mindfreak.
I 100% agree because if this fort falls, we're going to be looking at level 10 coming in, which means that you can basically siege up bot lane and start to open up that bottom keep wall, and then this is where the snowball starts to come in. And then when we get 3 to 4 minutes down the road, will it be Tempo Storm doubling up on the camps again? These are things that Tempo Storm is known for, which is why they're so strong on Dragonshire.
And then gets worse too with Dahaka being in the top lane. When you're ahead and you have a global, you feel like a god. You feel like you cannot be beaten. Mindfreak are desperately looking for that level 10. They leave Genji in the middle lane to continue soaking. The rest of the team heads over to start working on that dragon and to clear out the waves. But a keep wall at 6 minutes could be going down.
Again, with a threat of 10, I would not be surprised to see Tempo Storm just siege up in any form or fashion. They might even rotate to the top. It's one of the things you can do. You've kind of lost, and speaking of the top, Dahaka had a little bit of company. But this is an opportunity now. Tempo Storm, if they want to run top lane, they can easily do that, start to put some pressure onto that fort. The time is limited because we're sitting about 9 1/3 here for Mindfreak, so they're going to be approaching 10 soon. If Tempo Storm was going to do something, they would have already made that rotation.
They're just starting to get ready for the next fort top. They got the Night Camp on the right side here being grabbed by Phoenix. They grab the Giants too, so they can have that pressure on the bottom side. So now they have two options. Decide, okay, how exactly is Mindfreak going to try and handle this soaking of level 10, and where do they want to fight? If they want to go in the top lane, we can rotate down and try to take out a keep. If they want to go to the bottom lane and defend these Giants, we can move up to the top and try to break that down with Dahaka and the rest of us grouping up for the push. Now, gonna get a slight pause here, but I like how Tempo Storm has set themselves up to have a double-pronged attack, and they get to choose which way they want to move forward.
Yeah, this will be a quick pause. I think we should be ready right now. Just had to take care of one minor issue. So, yeah, the double-prong approach from Tempo Storm with that talent tier advantage, it's going to be interesting to see the approach, especially because the global threat of Dahaka on the other side is when do we get that rotation down as we head back into the game. And Sonya, right? Sonya's going to have to come down for these team fights, and I think it's really going to be on, I almost said Nomia, my goodness, Mindfreak to come down and try and force the action. We got the camp up here. There's going to be the Valkyrie, and that's going to be a miss trick.
I was about to say, we need that instant fight, but John missing out on the Valkyrie. Ooh, a sleep does come out. Is going to be able to hit, but not hitting multiple members here. And Tempo Storm has made Mindfreak use a couple of heroics and completely dodged out on him.
Oh, we've got a nice tongue grabbed in there. The Twilight Dream's going to hit. Fanny's going to go in with the Pulse Bomb. Nice heal up there by Vanilla's going to keep him alive for now. But we had a little bit of fireworks, but no deaths.
Yeah, no deaths, but the bottom lane is going to be an issue pretty soon. Remember those giants that were grabbed. And immediately Tempo Storm says, okay, we don't get a kill here. We made you use a couple of heroics. Let's just beeline straight to the south side. And you see Fan already doing so here on Tracer. And they're going to look to finally break it open that gate and grab that additional turret. They're also slowing down the rotation of Mindfreak. They are just one step ahead every single time.
That's perfectly put, because you saw Fan pushing in on that. You saw Phoenix getting the dismount, the disruption there to make sure that he could go over. But speaking of disruption, Dragon Blade is out. No Twilight Dream. Remember, June is in so much trouble. He's going to be the first to fall. Tongue's going to land, but the Valkyrie actually catches Phoenix there, and 2 members have gone down now on the side of Tempo Storm.
Mindfreak wins a team fight, and at a great time, too, with the Shrines just now spawning. They can try and have Sonya beeline up there. She's going to go ahead and grab the Giants first here and the Night Camp, which if they want, they can actually go for a 5-man push here on the south. But they have to be careful. Oh, no. They left Cassia by herself, and Tempo Storm seizes the opportunity.
Yeah, that's generally Cassia should be the one. We've got an isolation and another tongue drag here. Fat94 going in, trying to get damage of his own. Vanilla eating so much damage. Does Fan have a recall? Working about it does not matter, because that spear lands before it is even an option. And the somewhat slow pace that we had, the very deliberate pace by Tempo Storm, has been disrupted, but they're fighting back. And then Mindfreak's like, wait a minute, we can too.
How did something that went so right go so wrong so quickly? Mindfreak, you gotta be careful there. First off, that Shrine was already under control. You gotta have Cassia jump in that bush if she wants to be in that area. You gotta play it safe, as you know your teammates are spread out on the map. Huge mistake from Mindfreak, and Tempo Storm is able to bounce back. That was a moment I felt for Mindfreak to find some momentum in this game.
And we got another DK. Use Iron Skin, walk away from this, but Iron Skin has already been used. I'd say this is worth the trade if you are Tempo Storm. Just buy a little bit of time. Bless Shield, he's gonna... Yeah, there's no way.
Alpha's on the way, okay. There's a kill. So Mindfreak gets one. They need to run over and start looking at this dragon. This dragon was thinking about going towards the keep, but with Genji on top of it, they'll be able to delay this. And this is good. You need to make sure the second dragon does not break down a keep. If you're losing a keep at 10 minutes, it feels pretty bad, especially with a global on the opposing side of Tempo Storm. So Mindfreak will now take their time and clear this up. Tahaka takes the time to push to the top lane, but Sonya's there to meet up. Good pick by Mindfreak, and it's all about the good defense.
Getting structure damage in here is the name of the game. You want to get a little bit of experience. You want to stretch this lead. Unfortunately, Johanna just now spawned and only 25 seconds left. I'm surprised they haven't turned some of their attention to that top lane. Obviously, this mid-keep wall is going to warrant a lot of XP and a potential win condition down the road. But as you can see, John has just thwarted basically the entire assault there. And now this is the moment we can actually just turn our attention to the mini-map. This is the moment where we see Tempo Storm, mid-game, loves to play around this. We'll see Phoenix move off to the bottom right. You can see that on the mini-map. They're going to double up on these camps, and they're going to go. And Mindfreak, I think they've identified this.
They have identified it, and they actually have a chance here to push in and fight. They will not have Sonya here. Dahaka should be able to burrow in, so there is a 5v4 that can go in the favor of Tempo Storm. In fact, there is that Brushwalker. Glaurung on the backside moves in.
He's coming in. The Pulse Bomb is going to go down right after the Twilight Dream. That is major damage. Salvo's going to put out a bit more. Fat94 up at the top. He's going to go down, and now the assault will continue as Glaurung lands yet another tongue. Penta, he's going to dwarf toss over, but it's all for naught as he's going to go down here. Now we've got the camp. Now we've got Tempo Storm on the assault. Psalm said, I am not done yet. And now the siege up on this bottom keep is imminent.
That is a discussion that we continue to have. If you do not have your top lane rotating down and you don't have the power of a global, you need to give things up, or stuff like that will happen. Tempo Storm easily runs over Mindfreak. They get that bottom lane pushed in, they take away a keep, and they set up for the next play here in the top left corner as Dahaka is already grabbing the next Night Camp. Mindfreak, I feel like they might have one more team fight, or then this game is over.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely needed to rotate Sonya down much, much quicker. The thing is that you could see the rotation from Mindfreak. They identified that was Tempo Storm's play, but the Sonya rotation was very, very late. And, you know, fighting into that choke is going to be difficult. Glaurung landed the good isolation to start that fight. And it was just, you know, it's Tempo Storm. That's what they do mid-game. They were prepared. They had the global, and Mindfreak had a minor misstep.
Now, we've talked about the mistakes here for Mindfreak, but what have they done well so far? They found a couple of picks, and I think that's what they have to rely on here to stay in this game. Find more Cassia Valkyries, find a target to pull in. Now, Fear going to be wonderful. It's going to be hard with Iceblock now being up, because June can dodge on that. Phoenix would be a good pick as well. But they need to try to follow up into a fight and then have that stay a while and listen to land on the targets as Tempo Storm comes in for a defense. And I feel like that's their ace in the hole. That's how they get this win. They're grouping up in bushes and they're trying to find something.
Well, you talk about the grouping in particular. Ancient Blessings was picked up by Deckard, which complements the auto attack style of Cassia to get some of that splash damage going in there. Although you are going into a Malfurion, so we'll see how well that works. But here comes Mindfreak looking for the flank. Cassia's still not down here just yet. Let's see if they try and make this happen.
Glaurung goes to the right. There goes the Stormbolt. There goes the Spear. Glaurung goes for the instant burrow. The rest of the team is going straight for the core. Glaurung's trying to buy time, but Mindfreak now has to back. They have the Hearthstone.
That was a bit of a greedy play. I feel like Tempo wanted to threaten the core at least, but that was a very, very risky call because so many members of Mindfreak weren't showing, and then all of a sudden they sprung up and Glaurung's like, hey guys, I like your idea, but I'm dead.
I think all Tempo Storm wanted to do was bring Mindfreak back and play defense there, and have Glaurung not get picked up. They come back to easy shrines and move into a dragon. So that wrench in the plan there, with Glaurung falling on the Dahaka, gives Mindfreak another opportunity. But they're being more careful here. They are not allowing Ryu to overextend the top lane. He's playing safe, hugging his fort here, while Genji, the one with the most abilities in the bottom lane.
Psalm just went right in. He's going to warp out. No follow-up there. We saw the slow. John, now all of a sudden, Fan coming in.
Well, listen.
Salvo's out.
It hits Malfurion here on the back. He finally pops up the heal, and Cassia is just done for. Vanilla trying to retreat away. Fat 94 defending where he can, but with no Sonya here, this fight is done.
It's just the whole thing. You know, we've heard from a lot of people is that the one thing Deckard does not do well is save individual heroes, and they were kind of hoping that maybe they could make it happen, but Cassie has just taken way too much in these team fights and has been a priority target, so it's been rough. I mean, the play from Deckard has actually been really good, I'd say, up until that point, but that's by no fault of his own.
Fat 94 just uses an ability already here. Isolation comes out and will hit Muradin. Dahaka popping the essence, should be able to stay alive. Here comes the triangle to lock down a target, so I'm able to dodge out while Ryu buying a little bit of space here on the back left as Kattle's coming in for the rotation.
He's in there, and he gets the kill on that backside with Fan, and now Fan looking for an opportunity. Twilight Dream by June walks right in, and that is going to be Muradin trying to heal up. Healing static not enough. And now Tempo Storm, they're on the offensive, and I think right now Dahaka instantly goes down for this DK. They could be looking for a win right now, Trey.
There it is. Gonna head down the bottom. Cassia's here for defense as well as Genji and Kane. We will have Muradin and Sonya up in about 20 seconds. But Tempo Storm can look for the kill as you mentioned, and it looks like they will do so as they group up as 5 and join up with their catapults.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a guaranteed victory, but the odds are definitely in Tempo's favor. We're going to see if Mindfreak has one solid defense left in them. They get the Valkyrie to land onto Psalm, but no real follow-up damage. Now the DK on the core.
Dale Wilson comes out, hits nobody there.
He's going to get booted right back into the team here in a second.
It's already on the core here, JL.
Yeah, I mean, the core's going down. I mean, at this point, the DK is just like, look, I'm right-clicking, going to breathe out a little bit of fire. The rest of Tempo Storm, now that 2 members are dead, they've got an easy core attempt here, and one good kill for measure there. Needless to say, Tempo Storm got out to a very strong start. Mindfreak found the first 2 kills of the game, found their way back, but Tempo Storm showed that mid-game resolve they're so well known for.
Yeah, Tempo Storm definitely playing a little bit better on the macro and the overall game sense. I really got to come back to that Cassie mistake on that bottom lane shrine. I feel like that was a moment where we had a chance for Mindfreak to start of etch a victory out for themselves, right? Yep. And Cassie just sitting on top of the shrine, easy drag comes out, Tempo Storm pounces like a cat, gets the kill, and it's just... That's where the game just fell apart.
That moment, you have to have Genji on the point because he's the one with the mobility.
Or you hide in the bush.
Or you hide in the bush. Yeah, I mean, I think they were trying to maybe claim that, but either way, you got to kind of flip the roles there. But unfortunately, at that moment, I think the momentum was lost.
Well, let's go to our panelists here and see what they thought about that game.
Thank you, friends. Tempo Storm gets